Today's book club is going to be a little bit different. Happy Tuesday, Potterheads! Today we are talking about Chapter 10 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and today I want to do something a little bit different, like I said. I want to piece together and make sense of the timeline of events that happened on October 31st and November 1st, 1981, Lord Voldemort's first defeat. But first, if you need to, go ahead and pause the video and read that recap in the description below. And if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This video is a little bit different than my normal one, so I do suggest that you check out the card up there to check out another video, and up there also you can start all the way over from the beginning. If you like what I do, please consider subscribing. That was tough to get out, and ring the notification bell so that you know when I upload and that you don't miss a single chapter in the Harry Potter series. I'm stumbling today. Okay, we need to set out a few guidelines first, and the most important thing is that we are only going to consider things from the pages of the books or that J.K. Rowling has said herself. So there will be no mention of the events of Cursed Child. Because, I mean, they're also kind of irrelevant because everything still happens the way it does originally. We will not consider any alterations that the movies made, so not this one. And we will not take into account anyone else's speculations. We will only be making our own wild guesses and assumptions to fill in the many gaps that exist in this timeline. So with that in mind, let's get started. October 31st, 1981. Sometime after dark, Lord Voldemort arrives in Godric's Hollow. Having been told the location of the Potter's house, he heads that direction. He looks in the window and sees James, Lily, and one-year-old Harry all playing together. He goes inside, and James tells Lily to flee with Harry while he holds off Voldemort. Unarmed, Voldemort does away with James fairly quickly. He goes upstairs to find Lily and Harry hiding in a bedroom. After multiple warnings to step aside, he kills Lily and sets his sight on Harry. As we know, Voldemort casts Avada Kedavra, the spell rebounds, hits himself, and a part of his soul escapes. Baby Harry is left there alone with a lightning bolt-shaped cut on his forehead, the room around him destroyed, Lord Voldemort's body destroyed, Voldemort's wand flung aside, and Voldemort's soul vanished. And this is where the timeline gets messy. Somehow, Albus Dumbledore finds out about the attack. Now, there are a few ways that this could happen, but in an interview back in 2007 with Pottercast, why are there flies in here? In an interview back in 2007 with Pottercast, J.K. Rowling herself said that Dumbledore could have cast a spell on anything to let him know if something happened to him. Voldemort coming on the night of Halloween makes him relatively difficult to distinguish between other costumed people. So if Dumbledore did have eyes in Godric's Hollow, which I assume he also did, it would have been difficult for them to pick him out. But once the explosion happens, that spell would be triggered, Dumbledore would know instantaneously, and he could take action. This being a school day, since the first book says that the story starts on a Tuesday, Dumbledore sends Hagrid to Godric's Hollow. Simultaneously, Professor McGonagall, seemingly unbeknownst to Dumbledore, heads to Surrey to keep an eye on the Dursleys, Harry's only remaining family. I can only assume that she went there just to make sure that no Death Eaters would attack them once they found out about Voldemort being defeated. And I say seemingly unbeknownst to Dumbledore because when Dumbledore arrives to Privet Drive, he seems delighted to find out that she's there. Now, Hagrid himself reports later that he got Harry just before Muggles started to swarm on the scene. But how did he get there so quickly from Hogwarts in Scotland to Godric's Hollow in the West Country in the southwest of England? Presumably Hagrid can't apparate since he never became a fully trained wizard, nor could any broom or animal that he'd have access to be able to take on his massive size. So Dumbledore must have had some other direct access, instant access set up to Godric's Hollow so that people could get there instantly in case of this exact situation. Port key, direct flu access, something. Regardless of how it happens, Dumbledore dispatches Hagrid to go retrieve Harry. At the same time, Sirius Black had made arrangements already to go check in on Peter Pettigrew in his hiding place to make sure he was safe. In this chapter, we find out that the world thinks that Sirius was the Potter's secret keeper via their Fidelius charm. However, we know already that Pettigrew was actually the Potter's secret keeper. Because of this, on Halloween night when Sirius finds Pettigrew's hideout abandoned and no sign of a struggle, he heads straight for Godric's Hollow, fearing the worst. He hops on his enchanted motorcycle, I assume just after Dumbledore finds out, and flies to their location only to find the Potter's house destroyed. Hagrid is already there, and Sirius and Hagrid have a brief argument where Sirius tries to take Harry, being his godfather. However, Hagrid tells Sirius that he's on orders from Dumbledore to take Harry to his aunt and uncle. Conceding, Sirius gives Hagrid his motorcycle, telling him he won't need it anymore, and he leaves. Hagrid takes Harry on the motorcycle, and Sirius presumably disapparates. Let's follow Sirius first. We can infer from Sirius giving up his motorcycle and saying he won't need it anymore that he had every intention of going to find Peter and kill him, and he had no intention of escaping from that. Sirius is somehow able to track down Pettigrew and corner him. Again, I'm not sure how he tracks him down, but at some time during the day on November 1st, he finds him. I mean, let's not forget that he is one of the creators of the Marauders map, so he is clearly able to come up with some magic that is good at tracking people. He finds Peter in the middle of a city street. There's an argument that draws the attention of the surrounding muggles, and whether they just got so heated that the muggles couldn't remember which man was saying what words, or who killed whom, and that leads them to think that Peter is accusing Sirius of murdering the Potters, or what I think is more likely, that Peter is showing his cowardice and is actually pretending to believe that Sirius murdered the Potters. Suddenly, the two men draw their wands, Pettigrew creates a massive explosion which kills 12 muggles around them, he cuts off his own pinky, he transforms into a rat, and he escapes. This massive blast is noticed by the Ministry, including Cornelius Fudge, who is currently working in the Department of Magical Accidents and Catastrophes, and many members of the Ministry descend upon the scene. Sirius is found laughing maniacally, and he is arrested on the spot by 20 members of magical law enforcement without resist. Fudge's department and others go around interviewing the Muggle eyewitnesses to see what happened, and then they wipe their memories, telling them that it was a gas line explosion instead. Meanwhile, somehow Hagrid takes almost 24 hours to deliver Harry from Godric's Hollow in the West Country to Surrey, which is just south of London. For those of you who aren't familiar with the geography of England, according to Google Maps, this would be about a 3 to 4 hour car trip depending on where exactly Godric's Hollow is. So what is going on with Hagrid during that entire day? Well, funnily enough, J.K. Rowling has admitted in that same interview I mentioned earlier that she just kind of screwed up. She said it to Pottercast that she either had to go back into her notes and admit that she just kind of messed up, or that she would, cobble together some backstory for us. And, well, she still hasn't done that, so nonetheless, it's canon. So here is a possible reason for why Hagrid takes so long to deliver Harry to Dumbledore. First, we know Hagrid has strong paternal instincts. He is very clearly good at taking care of small things and knowing what they need. So I just have a feeling that Hagrid's first thought was, I need to figure out how to get this baby what it needs so that it survives. I'm guessing he may have gotten out of Godric's Hollow, away from where all the hubbub is happening, and gone to some place where he knew something magical was. Stopped into a store, maybe got some baby food for Harry, maybe some warm clothes for him. I mean, it's November in England, after all. It's cold. And I think while he's out getting stuff for him, that's when the news of Voldemort's downfall starts spreading. Because the news of Voldemort's downfall travels fast. I think that happened in 3 ways. First, any other wizarding families in Godric's Hollow almost certainly would have known what happened. Second, surely news was traveling fast through Hogwarts, where Dumbledore and McGonagall were, and kids are sending owls to their families. And third, well, we know Hagrid is kind of loose-lipped with information. So, Hagrid's going around getting things to make sure that Harry will be taken care of, but then suddenly, it's daytime, and he can't fly the bike anymore because he'll be seen. After all, someone still has to be careful about magic being seen. So, Hagrid lays low during the daytime, just kind of taking care of Harry, and I think he grows fond of the little guy. Hagrid spends all this time during the day when he can't really travel, just kind of falling in love with this sweet little baby. Then night falls and Hagrid, ever dutiful, jumps back on the bike, flies over Bristol at some point, which is when Harry falls asleep. And he arrives on Privet Drive shortly after Dumbledore and delivers Harry safely. And I think that time in between spent taking care of Harry is part of why it's so hard for him to say goodbye to Harry, and why he cries, and why he kisses him goodbye. Yes, I know that Hagrid says he's distraught about James and Lily dying, because he was close to them. But in this accidental extra time that J.K. Rowling has given to us, he was Harry's caretaker. He was growing fond of the little guy and becoming really attached to him. So I think this was more than just because he was fond of Harry's parents. Dumbledore places Harry on the doorstep with a letter to Petunia. Hagrid gets on the bike and says he's going to return it to Sirius. And McGonagall and Dumbledore go their separate ways. Wizards all across Britain are celebrating the downfall of Lord Voldemort. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this as well, but in the coming days, or perhaps on that same day, a group of Death Eaters, including Bellatrix Lestrange and Barty Crouch Jr., capture Frank Longbottom and torture him to try to get information about the whereabouts of Voldemort. Failing to get information from him that he doesn't have, they torture him into insanity. They capture his wife Alice, and she suffers the same fate. And that is everything that we know that happened in the days following Lord Voldemort's first downfall. You guys, I really hope you enjoyed this brief change in format. I really had a lot of fun writing something so different for the book club, and it's a mystery that I've never given myself a lot of time to sit down and put a lot of thought into about this length of time in which Hagrid gets Harry and then delivers. So I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about my timeline of events. Let me know if there's anything that I missed or anything that you think I'm wrong about. I would love to hear your feedback. And you guys, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the video do well. If you like what I'm doing and are not subscribed, please click that red button and ring the notification bell so you know when I upload. I also do silly parodies and other different kinds of stuff on the book club, so it's a lot of fun over in this part of YouTube. And please share this video with everyone you know. And one more thing, if you love being a part of this community, please, please, please consider visiting my Patreon to see what you can get over there for supporting me. If you liked this video, I don't really have any others like it, but here are some videos that I think you will really enjoy. Your assignment for next week is to read chapter 11, that's the Firebolt, so make sure you read that by next Tuesday, and until then, happy reading! Knox.